to all the respected dignitaries, participants, scholars, my beloved students, our departmental colleagues, as well as ladies and gentlemen. I profoundly thank all of you for sharing your precious time to make our webinar a grand success. Once again, a very warm welcome to you all to this international webinar on managing personal finance and wealth creation. And today, we have among us Professor Shivaji Pratim Basu, Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir of our university, and he is also the chief patron of our today's international webinar. At the very outset, we convey our deep sense of regards to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir for his kind presence to inaugurate our international webinar. Thank you very much, sir, for your august presence to adorn our international webinar on managing personal finance and wealth creation. Sir hardly needs an introduction. He has made all of us proud by his distinguished work in numerous capacities. He is the man of distinct vision and a fountainhead of illuminating ideas, an idol of knowledge, experience, and inspiration and motivation to all of us. He is internationally acclaimed political scientist as well as eminent political analyst. Sir, with your kind permission, we would like to start today's international webinar. Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, I am seeking your permission to start today's international webinar. Perhaps there is some technical problem. We are waiting.
Sir, join, sir. Please wait, please wait. Sir, please unmute your audio option, sir. Please, audio option, sir. Please, sir. Vice Chancellor, sir, please unmute your audio option, sir. Please, sir.
Please. Okay. Please, Ahmed, please, just a minute. You try to accommodate Professor Anand. He will try to join Anand Surjanarayan, okay, with this name. But he cannot able to join because in waiting room there are 127 participants are there. He tried to join by name Anand Surjanarayan, okay?
Okay, sir, okay.
Yes, we are waiting for Professor Anand, and after that we'll start today's webinar.
Yes, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, actually in a meeting, he informed me that he will join after some time. Okay, Dr. Bishas.
Yes, yes.
After joining Professor Anand, we may start. Okay.
Yeah. No
Just
problem.
we may wait for just 5 minutes. Actually, there are some technical problems are there due to the already there are 500 participants already joined. That's
Okay.
why he is unable to join.
Sir, is your name Narayan Das, Narayana, Vishnu, Narayan Sethi? Anand Narayan is not, sir, in list, sir.
Can I send you the mobile number of Anand so that you can contact with him with WhatsApp through
Okay,
WhatsApp?
sir. Okay, sir. Please. Please start the webinar, sir.
Yes.
Because Dr. Anand
Yes, yes,
Suryanarayan, sir,
Professor.
join the webinar. Join.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Professor Anand has already joined to our international webinar. And now we will start today's international webinar. First of all, may I request Dr. Taruknath Shahu, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Business Administration, and convener of this today's international webinar. So may I request Dr. Shahu to deliver his welcome address before the Mammoth gatherings in today's international webinar. Please, sir.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Department of Business Administration and on my personal behalf, I heartily welcome you all to the international webinar on managing personal finance and wealth creation, jointly organized by the Department of Business Administration with collaboration with Association of Mutual Fund in India as a part of the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The theme of the webinar is selected on the belief that during the last few years, the rate of return from the most common and popular investment in bank and post office, etc., has gradually declined. Also, a prevailing inflation rate and tax liabilities further reduces the expected return from the investors. From the investment. So wealth creation, wealth creation ensures financial liquidity and helps in financial crisis at the time of, say, medical emergency, say educational or retirement requirements. To achieve financial empowerment, it is important that the investors are aware and informed about the different financial products and services so that they can get maximum return in the long run through investments according to their financial goals. So this is an opportunity for interaction and discussion among the different academic intellectuals, research scholars, head of the different regulatory agencies, corporate personalities, and practitioners in a single and global platform to deliberate on important issue concerning potential wealth creation with an ultimate objectives to arrive with newer ideas and thoughts that may lead the earners to become better investors and ensure a sustainable, secured future for themselves and their families also. The webinar has received an overwhelming response with more than 1,700 registration from all over the India and abroad. No thanks are enough to our university authorities, especially our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Sibaji Pratim Basu, for his motivation and encouragement right from the planning stage of the webinar. Sir, in spite of his busy schedule, managed to give us the guiding light and always provided us with positive suggestions as and when required. We, the faculty members of the Department of Business Administration, welcome you, sir, from core of our heart. We are welcome. We also welcome the most active, energetic, and beloved faculty member of our university, Professor Tapon Kumar De, the present Dean, Faculty of Arts and Commerce, and the chief guest of the webinar. At the same time, I also welcome Professor Satyajit Saha, Dean, Faculty of Science, and guest of honor in this occasion, whom I have personally contacted time and again for valuable advice. On behalf of the organizing committee, I heartily welcome Professor R.P. Banerjee, sir, Chairman and Director, EILM Kolkata, and the chairperson of the invited session, who has been a fatherly figure for the department also, and time and again whose intellectual inputs have helped us to prosper more. Welcome you, sir. I also welcome our resource person, Professor S. Anand, Director, Postgraduate Studies and Research, College of Banking and Financial Services, Financial Studies, Oman, who has managed time to accept our invitation as a speaker of the webinar. actually Professor Anand is our old and very good friend, and we always get positive response from him whenever we approached him for any kind of academic support. Welcome you, sir. It's a great privilege to us that we have Sri Suryakant Sharma, who is the former DGM SAB and senior consultant Amfi, who managed time to accept our invitation as speaker also. He has addressed as invited speaker in more than 600 financial and investment awareness related program previously. I also welcome the high profile galaxy of delegates, dignitaries, faculty members of our department, sister departments, and from other academic institutions, members from the collaborating institute, Amfi, research scholars, and my dear students who are participate in the webinar virtually. Hope we all will have some excellent deliberation with intellectual interactions in the next 2 hours. Thank you all once again for joining with us with different type of travel, the different technical problems. Have a good day. Thank you, sir.
So thank you, Professor Shahu, for your very nice welcome address before the August gathering in today's international webinar. Now, may I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Shivaji Pratim Basu, to give his inaugural address to this international webinar.
Professor Tapan Kumar Dey, Dean Faculty of Arts and Commerce, Professor Shrutajit Shaha, Dean Faculty of Science, Professor R.P. Banerjee, Chairman and Director, EIILM, Kolkata, and the Chairperson of the technical session, Dr. Jayanta Kishore Murthy, Registrar, Dr. Tarunnath Shao, Head Department of Business Administration, my departmental and other departmental colleagues, Dr. Devashin Mishra, Dr. Shruti Bhatt, and Dr. Deepa Banerjee. Faculties from other departments of Vidyasagar University, participants from other institutions, research scholars, and my dear students. At the outset, I acknowledge my thanks to the organizers, especially to Dr. Shao, for being invited to be presenting and also to inaugurate the one-day international webinar on managing personal finance and wealth creation. Indeed, this topic has both academic and practical value, especially with the advent of COVID-19, which has made everything topsy-turvy, whatever the human civilizations have achieved. However, this webinar is also a part of the celebration of the 75 years of Indian independence by our university. Thus, before I enter into the topic of today's webinar, let me spell out about our idea behind the celebration. Friends, I think you will agree with me that 75 years are long years for the history of an independent nation. It gives us sufficient time to ponder over, recollect, and evaluate our progress, achievements, and glories, and also the areas of shortcomings where there is ample scope for improvement and progress. Our celebration committee, that is Vidyasagar University Celebration Committee, has also taken the pledge to understand the meaning of the idea of India in a very comprehensive manner. And to do this, we have to be not only aware of the last 75 years since independence, but also the times of the past, which led us to the 15th August of 1947. And to my mind, the idea of India, of course, carries some of the great ideas and values of ancient Indian civilization, and also some of the traditions and technologies of medieval India. But what we are today, the shape and the state of our dear country and nation of today, can never be understood if we do not count the contributions and heritages of the modern India, which has arrived after the coming of the British, with our days of suffering under the colonial imperialism, which began in the Battle of Plassey and ended with the tragic story of partition. This India and her people had launched incessant struggles against the colonizers. But colonialism, in its own interest, had connected us with the economy, politics, culture, and knowledge of the West, and also with other parts of the world, especially after the European Enlightenment of the late 18th century. With this context, besides experiencing the yokes of colonial exploitation in all forms, we have also learned about America's anti-colonial war of independence and French Revolution, and that imbibed the values like equality, liberty, and fraternity. And also learned about constitutionalism and federalism. The Western education and civilization had enhanced the first generation of Indian had enchanted the first generation of Indian pioneers. Although they were critical about some of the maladies, but they also accepted the coming of the West or the British as something providential. However, since the second half of the 19th century, we see the development of critical outlook among enlightened Indians. Later they undertook the course of conflict and later struggle. This India that we have today had passed through all these courses of history, which we must appreciate and realize, in which history our countrymen had made some glorious contributions, which is not only restricted to political struggles, but to incalculable progress in other fields like education, religious and social reforms, science and technology, modern medicines, economic thought, administration, business and commerce, art and literature, drama, dance, composition of songs, films, games and sports, etc. Thus, it becomes our imperative not only to reassess and appreciate these developments and evaluate how far we have progressed in the last 7.5 decades. Rather, this should be an endeavor of going back and forth and appreciate the true meaning of India and its independence, which our celebration committee is doing in a very big and grand way. Keeping all this in mind, today's international webinar, on the other hand, seeks to evaluate the interrelationship between personal finance on one hand and wealth creation on the other. Both of these phenomena have taken a very promising shape since the advent of neoliberal globalization in the aftermath of the end of Cold War and the dissolution of Soviet bloc in the early 1990s. Thus, the phenomena that the webinar is centered around are not a thing of distant past, but about a development that is still unfolding and which has to do with the life prospect of each and every individual attending this webinar. In short, the webinar highlights the problem of gradual decline in the rate of return from investments in banks as fixed deposits, a habit of the common Indians who are afraid of investing directly in the stock market because of the obvious risk factor. On the other hand, it is also being proven like daylight that dependence on fixed income from meager bank interest may be unprofitable to meet future financial requirements. And according to the concept note of the webinar, what I have gathered that wealth creation may be seen as a panacea to solve or at least to ease out the problems, which ensures financial liquidity and cushions financial crunch at the time of medical, educational, or retirement requirements. Planning and strategizing how the hard-earned income should be invested to meet the needs of the future, even when one is unemployed or retired, paves way for financial empowerment. Like everyone in the webinar, I am, like many others of the elderly generation, also curious to know about the ways of such dynamic wealth creation. And I seriously urge the organizers to provide us with ways in future. I am sure that today's distinguished speakers will show us some ways which will guide even an untrained individual to ensure some good returns of their hard-earned money. I would seriously like to know more, and thus without much ado, may I declare today's international webinar open. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
So thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time for your extremely busy schedule. We are very much fortunate enough for your excellent and mind-blowing inaugural address, which is indeed thought-provoking and well-organized speech. Thank you once again, sir, for sharing your in-depth and reflective knowledge with us. Now, it will be my honor to invite the next distinguished, our Dean of Arts and Commerce, respected Professor Tapun Kumar De, sir, who is the chief guest in today's webinar. And may I request, sir, to deliver his address before the learned audience in our international webinar. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Devasis Babu. Professor Sivaji Pratim Basu, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and the inaugurator of this international webinar organized jointly by the Department of MBA Vidyasagar University and Amfi on managing personal finance and wealth creation. Professor Satyajit Saha, Dean Faculty of Science, Dr. Jayanta Kishore Nundi, the Registrar, Professor R.P. Banerjee, Chairman and Director, EILLM Kolkata, as Chairperson of the technical session, and distinguished speakers, Professor Anand Surjanarayan and Mr. Surjakant Sharma, Head of the Department, other colleagues of the department, and the learned participants. Today, the Department of MBA of Vidyasagar University is organizing the international webinar on managing personal finance and wealth creation. The subject matter of this webinar is very interesting and at the same time necessary to build consciousness among the common people how to manage their personal finance and how to create wealth for the future life. In this digital era, we all know that digital dacoits are always trying to snatch away the wealth created by general people. The market also is there to do the same thing. And investment in the wrong place is also the other cause of losing personal wealth and personal property. So it is very much important for the common people to manage their personal finance. The finance field includes three main subcategories: personal finance, corporate finance, and public finance. Here we are dealing with the personal finance only. The origin of the finance can be traced to the start of civilization. At the dawn of the civilization, we see that the people were trying to create personal wealth and also to keep the wealth in a safe place for their future. But the opponents are also there who are always fighting to snatch away their money or wealth. The same process is running throughout the ages and at the present age also. So it is very important to know the pros and cons of the finance management and as well as the creation of the wealth. I hope that today's webinar will help us, that is to help the common people to learn more about the management of personal finance and also the way how to create wealth. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent, insightful knowledge that you have shared in this platform. Thank you very much, sir, for your august presence in today's international webinar. Now, may I request Dean of Science and today's guest of honor, respected Professor Satyajit Saha sir, to deliver your kind words to this international webinar. Please, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon to everyone. It is my great pleasure to be a part of the international webinar organized by Department of Business and Administration of Vidyasagar University. In this context, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Shivaji Pratim Basu, for his constant encouragement to organize such webinars. I like to thank Dr. T.K. Shah, HOD, for inviting me into this webinar. I also like to thank other faculties of the department, especially Dr. Debashish Vishwas, as well as Dr. Shudin Bagh and other faculties also of the department for organizing this important event. I welcome all the distinguished speakers in this international webinar. I welcome Professor R.P. Banerjee, Director, EILM, Kolkata. I welcome Professor A. Surjanarayan, Director, CBFS, Oman. I also welcome Professor S.K. Sharma, Senior Consultant in AMFI. I welcome all the faculties, research scholars, and participants to this webinar. My special thanks to Professor T.K. De, Dean of Arts and Commerce, for his gracious presence and his illuminating address. I also like to thank Dr. J.K. Nondi, Registrar of Vidyasagar University. Now, this international webinar is a part of celebration of 75 years of our independence. I find this international webinar is on managing personal finance and wealth creation. Now, as Dr. Shah mentioned, the return of our investments are very low in the current situation. So this webinar will enlighten on these issues. Also, we have to remember that this discussion should not be restricted only between the participants here, but it has to be transferred to a society so that common people may benefit out of this. Now, our experts, of course, will elaborate on this issue. We are all eagerly waiting for their lectures. So thank you and stay safe.
Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent deliberation to this international webinar. We are very, very thankful to you, sir. Now, in today's webinar, we also requested our registrar sir, Dr. Jayanta Kishore Nondi, but due to his some preoccupied assignment, sir has expressed his unwillingness to join in today's webinar. So now we will start our technical session. And one important announcement to all the participants in today's webinar. After the fruitful discussion and deliberation made by the eminent speaker across the globe, and all this technical session will be chaired by Professor R.P. Banerjee, Chairman and Director, EILM Kolkata. And this session will be chaired by Professor Banerjee. And in this webinar, two eminent speakers will be present and they will give their deliberation in order to enhance our knowledge in the domain of personal finance roadmap. And we know that under the personal finance roadmap, there are mainly 5 dimensions, which is very vast in nature. One is how to generate our revenue or income in various forms. And after that, second dimension is spending. Then if we deduct income minus spending, then the resulting figure is called savings. And if we can save, then we can think for investment. And if we can think for investment, then side by side, we have to also take some protective mechanism so that we can enjoy the full security of our investment as well as savings. And so that ultimately the wealth creations will be happened and we'll be leading a very beautiful life in this planet. So in this webinar, today's eminent speaker, Professor Anand Surjanarayan, and he is the Director, Postgraduate Studies and Research Department, College of Banking and Financial Studies, which is popularly known as CBFS, Muscat, Sultanate of Oman. And you know that Muscat is the capital of Oman. So we are very much fortunate to have Professor Anand Surjanarayan in our international webinar. We have another very, very eminent speaker, Mr. Surjokant Sharma, and he's the senior consultant, the Associations of Mutual Funds in India, which is popularly known as Amfi. And he was the former DGM, Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. So we have two very, very eminent speakers, and this technical session will be chaired by Professor R.P. Banerjee. And we hope we will be getting benefit from this type of webinar. Now, may I request Dr. Deepa Banerjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, to introduce the chairperson of our technical session, Professor R.P. Banerjee. Please, Madam.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwas. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Ramaprasad Banerjee, Chairman and Director of Eastern Institute for Integrated Learning Management, popularly known EIILM, Kolkata. With a rich experience of over 3.5 decades, Professor Banerjee perfectly harmonized academic brilliance with industry expertise. He is basically a professor of finance and ethics. He has taught almost all areas of management, both in the context of transnational corporation and domestic organization. As an international educationist, Professor Banerjee has been focusing on the Indian spiritual values and spreading the fundamental message of Vedic civilization. He has focused on certain noble values like integrity, sincerity, honesty, truthfulness, cooperation, sacrifice for manpower management and managing enterprise in the business, social and global context. Almost among his latest published book on arts and science of management in the digital era has been published from Sage Publication in the year 2020. His latest book on stress management through mind engineering has also been released by Sage International from Los Angeles in 2022. He has delivered lecture on invitation at numerous universities abroad, including Pennsylvania State University, Texas University Austin, Texas Women University, Texas University Dallas, Tarleton State University, University of Tennessee, University of Kansas, University of Hamburg, Germany, Northwestern University, Switzerland, Mingtao University, Taiwan, Pathum University, Thailand, among others. It is a proud moment to share that Professor Banerjee have been awarded Education Leadership from BBC World News in 2017. The Asia's Greatest Leader Award conferred by Asia One in 2021, Thought Leader Award presented by CIMA, July 2015. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan Award received for outstanding contribution to teaching, and it is conferred by Hindustan Unilever Limited at the World Education Congress, Mumbai 2012. So,
Thank you, Dr. Deepa Banerjee. Now I request Dr. Debashish Vishwas to introduce our speakers, Professor A.S. Anand and Suryakant Sharma.
Thank you, Dr. Banerjee, for your introductions about Professor R.P. Banerjee. And also, I thank to our head, Dr. Shahu, to give me introduce today's eminent speaker, Professor S. Anand. And Professor S. Anand is a resourceful doctor of finance with around 30 years of experience in management education and administration. And he has served for about 4 years in mutual fund industry. And he was visiting professor at leading B school in Dubai, Germany, as well as India. And he has published more than 50 papers and presented more than 40 papers in various international conferences and seminars, etc. Recently, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI, has selected his research paper for ICAI International Research Awards 2020. And his research paper on mutual fund was one of the top 10 downloaded papers in the SSRN e-library. He has written books on mutual funds, mergers and acquisitions, and financial system and commercial banking. He is also guest editor, member of the editorial board, and reviewer for referred international research journals. And he has organized various investors, education program, seminars, workshops, symposiums, and conference in associations with leading corporates and consultancy organization. His academic experience spans training and consultancy assignments in the areas of particularly investment management, mutual funds, financial markets, and financial services. He has successfully organized many management development programs for leading companies like Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Raishut Cements, Salaha Methanol, Saigen Limited, Hotel Lila, Kimpingsi Limited, Sesa Goa Limited, LIC of India, officers of Government of Goa, Goa Industrial Development Finance Corporation, Goa Electricity Board, and India Post. So we are lucky, fortunate to have this type of personality and Professor S. Anand in this international webinar. Now I am introducing Mr. Surjokant Sharma, and he is a commerce graduate and master's in law with specialization in corporate laws. He is also Chartered Associate of Indian Institute of Banking and Finance. Sri Sharma has over 35 years of long experience in banking and finance as well as securities market, and has served in a leading financial institution, thereafter in the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, and finally in Securities Board of India, Securities Exchange Board of India, SEBI. Sri Sharma joined Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, in the year 2003 and served there for more than 15 years, as served in different departments of SEBI. Lastly, in addition to other assignments, he was DGM in charge of Office of Investor Awareness and Education in SEBI's Northern region for more than 5 years. Sri Sharma is also a member of working group of NCERT for developing vocational courses on mutual funds for students of 12th and 11th classes. Sri Sharma is also mentor of a few NGO working for financial literacy and investor awareness in the country. Under his supervision, more than 15,000 financial literacy and investor awareness program IAPs were conducted across North India, and he himself has addressed as a guest speaker in more than 600 IAPs. After superannuations from SEBI in the year 2019, he has joined Associations of Mutual Fund in India, Amfi, an apex body of mutual fund in India, as senior consultant, North India. So thank you, sir, for your august presence in this international webinar. Now, may I request Professor R.P. Banerjee, chairperson of this technical session, and sir, you please take the responsibility and conduct your sessions accordingly. And after the fruitful discussion, then the questions will be taken from the participants. And I am also requesting to put your questions to the chat box. No need to verbally interact, so that we can moderate your questions accordingly, and it will be placed before the eminent speakers as well as the chairpersons of this international webinar for the clarification as well as explanation purpose. So, sir, you please take the responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Biswas. At the outset, I convey my deep regards to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, the Honorable Dean Arts and Commerce, the Honorable Dean Science, the Registrar of the University, and Honorable Head of the Department, all my distinguished colleagues in the university, and distinguished colleagues who have joined from various other academic institutions, other dignitaries, and dear students who have joined from, the university department, IIM Kolkata, many other business schools, many other organizations. Thank you all, for choosing me to present this session. This session is going to be a very important session. I have a talk for 10 minutes as, planned in this schedule. But, initially, I'm not going to, speak much. I'm just going to speak for 2-3 minutes. And at the end, time permitting, I'll do, conclusive remarks After the distinguished speeches are over by our dignitaries, Professor Anand Suryanarayan and Mr. Suryakant Sharma, after their talks are over, then we shall open, as Professor Bishar has mentioned, we shall open for the questioning and interactions. At that point of time, I'll give my remarks for 8-10 minutes. Well, some initial 2-3 minutes of remarks, as I have mentioned. Mutual fund, as we all know, is now playing very important role in global financing. Financing, as we all know, has got a objective of finally wealth enhancement, but there is a process. If you have to enhance wealth, then you have to create wealth, and if you have to create wealth, then you have to explore wealth also. So mutual fund, there are 3 basic things in mutual fund. I call it explore, maintain, and enhance, EME. So mutual fund has got this trio objective, EME. First is explore, from whom you are collecting your funds to manage on behalf of those people, those organizations. That's your exploring. There lies the crux of whole thing. And you explore the funds. Each fund has got its own objective and motive. A currency note of 100 in my pocket and in somebody, Mr. X's pocket, and some other person, Mr. Y's pocket, will mean different things, meaning the same currency note of 100 shall not carry the same meaning always. This is what has been identified by our studies in behavioral finance, and that plays a very, very important role. Mutual fund has actually gone into the depth of that issue of customer finance and exploring finance from the field of the market, from the global or local markets. So that's very important. One is explore wealth, how to get wealth, and who are there to eager to be with you to explore and give, because the person has to have a faith in your organization or your capacity to deal in that person's wealth on behalf of the person. So mutual fund, as the name goes, has to have a trust-based operation. When it's a trust-based, there is a intent built in the initial wealth. So explore fund or explore wealth is the basic thing. And then after you got it, where does it differentiating factors arise even further? There it is your maintain funds. How do you maintain the funds? So what is your approach to maintain funds? How do you create the portfolio? What would be your leverage position? If you're calculating risk, then what is your trend in the leverage beta, or what is your position in the gamma position, or is the risk triangle? How are you going to handle that to complete your objective function? This is the second objective, and where there is a differentiating factors and parameters created by organizations one against the other. And the third finally is to enhance that fund. One is your explore, second is your maintain, the third is your enhance. Enhance the fund is the final thing. That's how you market yourself in the next phase of the market, in the next period of the time. So these are the 3 basic fundamental objectives, both in academic context and in professional context. Is not only just ABCD of academics, is also ABCD of our professions. And most of the professionals, they're stuck up at the A, like explore funds. Most of the professionals are stuck out. But we need to have a decision making and clear guideline in terms of a model, in terms of a policy framework, in terms of an objective function identified with the policy framework. And then if we can do that, as Honorable Vice Chancellor has mentioned, and Professor Day has mentioned, the Honorable Dean has mentioned a nice thing that when you have a distributive objective of the wealth it created in the society, how are you going to take care of the distributive objective? So that distributive functional of the funds or fund managers become very, very important. So with this basic thing, our today's topic has a title of Managing Personal Finance and Wealth Creation. I would like to invite Professor Anand Upadhyay. I think the name comes here this way. Is it the correct way to spell you, Professor Anand? I find your name comes.
You are right.
Am I? Oh, acha, so nice.
Yeah,
You know,
you are right. You are right.
okay, okay. Yeah, so I may invite you first to deliver your talk, and I have got a schedule where approximately 30 minutes. You please take, sir. So now it is unto you. Please deliver your talk, Professor Anand S. Upadhyay. Please deliver your talk on the topic managing personal finance and wealth creation. Thank you.
I thank Vidyasagar University for giving an opportunity to share an idea, which is very favorite topic, and I hope we will do a great journey here. Professor Sarbaji Pratasu, Professor Kumar De, Professor Satyajit Saha, Professor P. Banerjee, Mr. Suryakant Sharma, Dr. Sudhir, and Dr. Debashish Vishwas, and dear delegates who are here in this webinar. Namaste, you all, and I thank you for being here today to have something from my side to today's discussion. At the outset, I also congratulate Dr. Thar for selling a wonderful team in the year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So the today's topic is also giving a kind of Azadi to you all. So it's kind of the topic which you selected today, managing personal finance and wealth creation. The focus, the core idea of this topic is to provide you the financial Azadi. So if you implement in a systematic manner, I think you will all get financial Azadi. In the sense that, why do we believe personal finance? Ultimately, to achieve two important things. One is financial success, another one is financial happiness. So the financial success and financial happiness which you achieve through managing personal finance is going to give you a financial azadi. So in this particular text, I congratulate Vidyasagar University as well as Professor Taraknath Saab and the team for selecting a very apt team in this particular 75 years of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav year. Yeah, yes. So let's move on to the subject matter. So I hope I have a permission for sharing the screen. I'll just try.
Yes, sir. You please do.
Yeah, okay. Okay, just try. Hope this is visible.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, fine. So the technical session. So we are all professors. So while you give me an opportunity to speak, then we will keep on speaking until the bell sound. So here we have Professor Banerjee here to control my. Whenever you have time, whenever my talk comes to end, so I think you to stop me from. So my discussion, people started, making graph here before I start. Well, so my agenda, one is we are going to understand awareness of financial management, and we are also doing the process.
Sir, just a minute, sir.
Personal goals.
Sir, perhaps due to some connectivity issue, your voice is breaking actually, and we cannot hear properly.
Yeah, Professor Upadhyay, actually your voice is getting cracked. Maybe some connection problem or something.
So am I not audible?
Yeah, you're audible, but then the force of that voice is not actually that much coming. But still, you can continue, please, sir.
Okay, fine. So with these session objectives, we will start to today's discussion. Say effective management, personal finance management, which is a package of 5 important things. One is that is personal and setting personal financial tools. The second one is liquidity management. Third one is financial management. Fourth one is section of your and the fifth one is investment. And last one is retirement as well as head plan. So these are the 5 aspects you are going to we have to focus on personal financial management. Of course, in 3 minutes talk, I cannot completely all these important elements of financial management. So I'm just giving the idea that if you wanted effective financial management, you focus on these 6 elements. So let's understand what exactly all these elements. So you can have a quick look. So why we need to have personal financial management? Because if you don't have a what is going to happen? You just see this picture. So a particular person is asked him to write an essay on dog. So this particular guy is going to write essay on the white dog. So what happens here is understanding. And if you look at this, sometimes we do something investment, but we do without knowing, without understanding what exactly what. So in this particular case, you can see the picture. This person is going to have some mask, but he does not know how to wear that mask. So this happens when we are not aware of personal financial. So this today's webinar main focus is to understand a thorough package of personal financial management. Once you look at this, what exactly happens if you don't have an understanding of personal finance? So if you don't know the personal finance, what happens? You are going to do the fund. When you do the fund, then you become a so that you understand very basic fundamentals of personal finance. If you don't know the personal finance, then you lose them, and then you become a mental. So to avoid, you should have a minimum knowledge of personal finance. Then when it comes to personal finance, things which are going to over personal finance. So personal finance is going to cover budgeting, savings, insurance, and so there are differentials in finance. So normally people feel that finance is just investment. That is only one aspect of personal finance. In personal, we have dimensions. If you understand the dimensions, only you make finance management, finance management. The process of personal finance, we are going to expose to a wide range of products which help us to create wealth. So there are 2 aspects in today's agenda. One is personal finance, managing personal finance, and the second one is wealth creation. So first part is managing personal finance. If you are able to manage personal finance, then only you can create a good wealth in the future. So if you look at this particular case, what exactly investments? When it comes to personal finance, you have to make investment. When it comes to investment, the meaning of investment. So the meaning of investment means you are going to sacrifice current consumption benefits. Like for example, if you want to make investment, you have to postpone this consumption. Why do you make today's consumption? You are postponing today's consumption with the objective of better benefit in the future. So just look at this particular video and understand this squirrel is doing that for the purpose of putting nut below. What it is making? It now. It is not consuming that particular nut today. Instead, it is consuming that nut today, is sacrificing today's consumption for the purpose of you can see a right approach even from this. This is saying something for the benefit of the. This is right in the way of understanding the investment. Why do we invest today? Do we postpone for consumption? We are postponing for consumption mainly for the purpose of future benefit. You can learn the skill of investment in this particular squirrel. Well, coming to the subject matter. So in life, we have various what wishes we have in life. We wanted to have a great job, good job. In order to get a good job, we need to spend amount. Nowadays, the higher education is not free. So we need to spend huge amount on higher education. So our wishes in life are what? Our wishes in life are having good job, making ample of money, maybe buying a car, having a luxuries in life, and ultimately having a happy family. So all these things happens only when you are able to manage personal finance well. So similarly, in your life, you may be having
Excuse me, Professor Upadhyay, excuse me. I'm sorry, I'm just interrupting in between. Professor Upadhyay. Hello.
Yeah, please.
If you don't mind, actually, your words are coming break, meaning your the exhibit is so nice, meaning your presentation is so nice, but then we are unable to, is there any way that you can better it?
I don't. I am connected by internet here. So I don't
Is
know
it that you are connected through two systems?
No, I am connected with connections.
Okay, but then this does not happen normally, but it's happening. So our ill luck, we are unable to get your voice properly, but still, sir, continue, because it's a very valuable thing that you are talking.
Okay, thank you.
Please continue, sir.
Yeah, fine, thank you. So basically, we have various goals in life, aspirations in life. So like you can see, your aspiration to be your aspiration maybe to buy a beautiful house and getting children marriage and happy retirement, holidays, children marriage. All these are your aspirations. So for these aspirations, you should learn the skill of managing your money. So this is a very important slide according to just see how do you achieve the economic purpose of life. So ultimately we live for what? For achieving some economic purpose in life. So how can we get economic purpose in life? Achieve purpose in life, having our own goals, objectives, and aspirations in our life. We may be having a goal of like having a good education, get good job, maybe home, having car, and objectives and aspirations in our life. How do we meet these aspirations? Through the creation of wealth. So how can we create wealth? So we can create wealth. How can we create wealth? We can create a new wealth. We can generate wealth by new wealth. Like for example, by doing business, by saving, I can create wealth. By investment, I can create wealth. Or the second one is protecting existing wealth. So in the beginning, the many speakers told very earning is only important thing. After earning, how we are protecting our wealth, that is also very important. So growing and protecting all things going to create to the economic purpose of life. So ultimately, the creation of wealth depends on what? The creation of wealth depends upon personal earning potential as investment. Like for example, have a job. If I keep getting promotion, I get more and earnings. So I can generate more wealth by excelling the job. The same way of earning better earning here is making a proper investment. By making a proper investment, I can create better wealth. So ultimately, this slide is going to give a complete idea of how you can achieve the purpose of life. So have a quick look of this slide. This slide indicates you the various life cycles of general investors. See, you look at this life cycle. See, all are through these four various stages. 0 to 20 years. This is not an earning year, for which we are spending our money for the purpose of for the purpose of making our next generation more valuable to the society. We're going to give a good education. Let's say many students are here. Like your journey starts after your graduation. After your graduation, you will get a job. Then after some time, you will marry, and after time, you will get promotion and you will retire. Like that, it's another license. When it comes to life, you can see yellow and blue line. So the line is your disposable income. So during the initial stages, you will have a more disposable income, whereas less commitment. When you come to the next level, the family, kids, and all. So like between the year of 30 as well as 50, between the year of 30 and you are having commitment and disposable income. Your disposable income may be less, whereas your commitments may be more. When it comes to retirement age, if retirement comes down again, your disposable income will also goes up. So this is going to give an idea. Like for example, if you wanted to have a very life here, when you manage your 30 to 50 time, the 30 to 50 years you manage well, you plan your investment from the day one. This is the age. That is why in modern days, the systematic investment plan is very popular. So if you start the moment to start a job, you don't spend entire earnings. At least 20% of your money you start investing in a proper way to realize your future goals. So that is why your investment starts from the day one of your job. No, you don't wait for that. So if you make a proper financial planning, you can pass this life cycle in a very systematic manner. So that's the very beginning. Financial. So you can take a quick look how you pass through this cycle. So the 0 to 22 years is an initial year, you don't earn any. The next thing comes, you will marry, you will have a child, you will have you are going to house, you are going to educate kids, and you are. So all these you are going to between the age of your 32 and 60. So that can be achieved in order to have financial success through proper financial planning. So you can have a look here. You can see various things why we need to have good financial planning. You can see here, sometimes there may be death in a family. There may be a premature death of the master of the family. The entire will be on a street to avoid that life. We protect our life, the family will come to this. So that we need to have good life insurance for life. So when it comes to life insurance, how much to what we have to insure our life? That depends upon our future commitment plus the expenses. Like the absence of the, if master dies, then what will be the average income they want to manage and what are the commitments they have in your life? So all put together, that much amount they have to take the insurance protection. Similarly, if you are living very long, then you need to manage a personal plan or retirement planning. Sometimes what happens, living death, nowadays because of lifestyle disease, sometimes you will not die, but it will be like a living death. So you cannot do anything. If some diseases come, the person will not die, but he cannot. So such a situation, we have to take health insurance. Like that, we need to make special children education for all these things. We have a investment. So next comes how to make financial planning. So financial planning will have different phases. We need to make need analysis and find out existing resources, and you should find out what is the risk-taking ability and how to develop investment plan, and you have to implement investment plan. And thirdly, don't even forget you have to investment plan. So this is kind of personal investment cycle. So this is the first I used to know most of the time this slide. So this particular slide will help you to understand the finance success. So if you are earning, let's say, income is, let's say, 1 rupees. So out of your income, so one portion will go for expenses, another portion will go for meeting debt. For example, you have taken a loan and all that will go, and the ultimate portion will come for it. So that's why you have to make a proper allocation of the income. So one portion for living expenses, another portion for repayment of loan if you have, and portion savings. This is going to lead your future life. So that's why nowadays, if you earn 1,000 rupees, what is the trend now? The trend is in young generation, they will spend 1,000 and instead they take loan. So this is not right approach. So when you earn 100, so out of that, 50% is you have right to save for the future as that security. So that's why. So this allocation which is given as a tentative, it depends on your risk, your capacity, as well as eligible. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is to balance between your living expense, your debt, as well as if this portion is not at all in your earnings, then the personal finance you can. So the most important is you have to understand the most important thing when you have your own balance sheet. In your sheet, you understand you have to classify assets into cash, invest, as well as assets. So this investment, your investment, whatever the investment here, that is going to help you to meet your future dreams, aspirations, life objectives. And this liability is going to indicate to what extent to protect your life. So this liability-based liability determines insurance you have. The people say that should, but that insurance is not enough for the purpose of sake of her family protection. So that's why liability is going to determine how much insurance you should take. So each one should have personal balance. If you prepare a personal balance, that is the first step of making personal balance. And ultimately, you can see there is a contingency. You should have minimum 25% of your investment in a liquid, 25% should be in a liquid, like which you can encash anytime. Because you know that nowadays we don't know what's going to happen in our job. So that's why normally we say that you should keep 6 months of your living expenses in a liquid balance. Even if something happens, you can leave for next 6 months, and during that 6 months you can find another job. So people have understood the importance of contingency.
Yeah, Dr. Upadhyay. Dr. Upadhyay.
Yeah.
Yeah, your time is over, but please continue and try to cover in another 5 minutes maximum, sir.
Sure.
Okay.
So then you should also have a flow of financial cash flow statement, and you should also have a family debt. That is the basic requirement of personal. Please understand, inflation is taking away all your. That is why you should be very careful managing in investment. So in order to meet the inflation, you should invest in such space or in such way you can get the inflation. Normally we say equity market. On the other side, you can the expenses in 2000, the amount you spend for tax for the marriage, that became 5,20,000 in 2020. Same 2 lakhs marriage expense become 13.5 in 2020. So that's you make a plan for future. You should see not based on current expense. You should make a for based on the future that you reduce. And this is what explaining investment. if you make, that's what I told you. Moment you have to get a job, you have to make an extra plan for investment. See, in this particular case, there are two cases. A person is investing in the name of his daughter. The moment she reaches 2 years, and 5,000 rupees is he has invested for the next 5 years and he stopped. So at the end of the total investment is 3 lakhs. And in the second case, this has started investing to when it reached 12 years, he also invested 5 per month. So the total investment is 3 lakhs. Both parents have invested 3 lakhs. They are getting fund at the age of 18. So you just see by the time this girl reaches 18 years, will be 39 lakhs, whereas the moment this boy reaches 80 years, this will be 8 lakhs. This is the power of early. So please try to have habit of system investment, you will get more benefits. So this is one slide which is going to give you complete idea for personal finance. So in personal finance, you should have a structured approach. So you should for contingency, okay? You should plan for management. You should plan financial goals. You should also plan for retirement, and you should also taxation as well as estate planning. Estate planning is after that you transfer your wealth to your next generation. Like that, for each aspect, there are investment options. Like as I said, go for the saving, you can go for FD or term deposit, in which you can go for liquid funds. So the contingency will help you to meet any type of immediate requirement. Then you should also manage your risk. The risk may be life risk, health risk, disabled risk, or property risk, or liability risk. So for all these things, suitable schemes are available so that your life will be risk-free. And then you should also plan properly for your future aspirations. Aspiration may be marriage, your marriage or your kid's marriage, or house, car, or child's education, or family education, or family, etc., etc. For all these things, select a suitable investment plans. And similarly for it. And there are various options available for you for the purpose of investment. You want to highlight before winding up of my session. Maybe the professional is here. We may take you for this. So now mutual fund is going to provide you a complete plan. Like for example, you wish to cultivate. I can see the pictures of farms he bought. So you, if you want a, then you can go this one, paddy cultivation. 6 months you get your return. And if you want moderate return, then you can go for duration, 3 to 3 years you will get yield. And if you want a long yield, then go for a coconut garden. So initial years, 5-6 years, there may not be return, but once the return starts, it is going to be yield forever. So the same principle you can have here. If you don't have any money in the short term, go for equity. If you want for any immediate requirement, go for money market investments. And if you want to buy between, then you can go for debt market. So there are various options available in the market. So as you can see here, so liquid fund is going to cater the need of 90 days investment, and 180 days investment is going to catered by income fund, and yield fund is very essential. At least 5% your investment should be in gold, in yield fund, which is going to be more security and monthly income, and long more than 3 years if you have invested, go for this. This is my final. This final slide is going to help you to achieve financial success. So the financial success, in order to achieve financial success, you should understand the foundation. The foundation of financial success is use your regular income, provide lifestyle, so unless you have things, you cannot achieve financial success. How can you use that saving? Savings can be used for what? Created financially. Establish manage your income and invest so that you can success. So this is going to help you to understand the overall package of your personal finance. And ultimately, you can see this slide. Nowadays, they say that we have kids. We feel that our kids will be going to take our in future. So actually, this the particular from what very interesting. They create 2 kids and investments. So we spend some money on our kids with the intention of making them their life better. Similarly, if we make a proper investment, that investment is going to take care of life. So money is a bad master, but good servant. If you control your movement of your money, so that will certainly you for your future. So I did to explain part investing and to your financial success. Sorry, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor Upadhyay, Professor Anand Upadhyay, for making a beautiful presentation. Unfortunately, many of us could not properly hear all your words, but we have followed your presentation. So I think by and large, we understand more than 90% of what you tried to say. Maybe a little bit, gap has been there. For that, we, maybe if required, department will get back to you for your any write-up or any paper on this or so. Okay, then once again, thank you so much, Professor Anand Upadhyay, for your beautiful and nice, elaborative and very, very detailed, elaboration on personal aspects of finance, with a very, very lucid note and practical approach into that. Thank you, sir, once again. Now we shall proceed to Professor Mr. Suryakant Sharma. Mr. Sharma, may I welcome you now for your talks. Professor Upadhyay, may I request you to close your window of presentation?
Yeah, 1 minute. I'm just trying 1 minute. I'm not able to see that.
There is an option share screen, and sir, please click on share screen and you off this.
I'm not able to see get this open.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Meanwhile, Mr. Suryakant, I think if you have no difficulty, you can start talking and the
yes, sir,
screen
yeah.
will be visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I can. I don't need it. I don't need the screen.
Now it's open.
Thank
now
you.
It's open, sir. So your time is now, Mr. Suryakant. Your time was more than 40 minutes. But if you could reduce it by 5 minutes, would be better because
I will. I will definitely, sir. I will go by your
okay,
Thank you very much.
Okay, please. Now it's your time. Please.
Respected Vice Chancellor, respected Professor Saha, respected Professor Nandi, respected Professor Banerjee sir, respected Professor Anand Suryanarayan sir, and Mr. Surya Beg sir, and my friend Talak Nath Sahu sir. I am thankful to all of you for giving me opportunity. And honestly speaking, this opportunity has been given by Professor Tarak Nath Sahu. Last time we were in a panel, we were co-panelists in one of the programs, and he might have liked my session. That is why I am grateful to him particularly and to all the other honorable dignitaries. very honestly, Banerjee sir, I am not a teacher, I am a student. So I have learned a lot of things from you. Rather, Professor Anand and Upadhyay sir, so very nicely and lucid presentation he has made about personal finance. So I am thankful, Professor Anand Upadhyay sir, and we will be definitely like to get in touch with you for inviting you in our other programs as well, if as per your convenience.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, sir, Banerjee sir, I want to make it very clear before I start my session. Of course, I will try to, otherwise my normal session is more than 1.5 hours. But as per your desire, I will try to squeeze it as much as I can.
Sure, sure, sir. But sir, requesting without cutting short on your core concept, because we are very eager to hear you.
No, I will try to, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This program is from Association of Mutual Fund India, Banerjee sir, but it is not a marketing event or a promotional event of mutual fund. It's purely an investor awareness program. And I will try to talk more about from the perspective of investor, not from the academic or research perspective. As we are talking in our drawing room and talking to each other, that level I will try to make my presentation. Secondly, this program is for the participants. So if questions come from the participant, that will be nice of them. Professor Banerjee sir, money serves two purposes in our life. The first purpose, I feel personally, money gives us security. And second purpose, money gives us prosperity. But money gives us security only when we have lot of money in our bank account. One fine morning, Professor Tarak Nath Sahu would have 100 crore rupees in his bank account, then definitely he will feel secure. No, Baba, I have now 100 crore rupees in my bank account. No problem. If university gives me marching order, I will be happily go there because I have that much of money with me. But Professor Sahu is smiling, but sir, Banerjee sir, we all know it very well that we would not be having that much of bank account money in our bank account normally. So how we can feel secure? Because security, Banerjee sir, I feel security comes first, then prosperity comes second. As a human being, we think about security first. And for security, I will request all the participants kindly do these three things, particularly those who are young. Kindly do these three things when they start their life or as a career, when they start earning. The first thing, Banerjee sir, all participants, particularly those who are young, must have adequate life insurance cover. And Dr. Anand had put it in a different way, but I am putting it very straight way, that every earning member must have adequate life insurance cover, because the purpose of life insurance cover is very clear, sir. Life is pretty uncertain. I am talking to you today. We may live for next 100 years, but even tomorrow is uncertain. So that fear is always remain in their minds, or not only my, but also in the minds of my family, that things are going very well, we are doing very well, doing very well, everything. But what happened tomorrow if I am not available to them? What will happen? How they will survive? How they will manage their monthly and regular affairs? How will the education of the children will be taken care of? How they will have their family obligation met? All these things are always in our mind. And for that purpose, I will request all the participants kindly have adequate life insurance cover. And the thumb rule of adequate life insurance cover is, Banerjee sir, it should be minimum 10 times of your annual income. Suppose your annual income is 20 lakhs, then ideally speaking, you should have life insurance cover of not less than 2 crore rupees. In our time, Banerjee sir, there was an insurance product, money back and endowment. They were not honestly true insurance products. But nowadays, Professor Sahu is very lucky that real insurance product is available for the young participant particularly, that is called term insurance. So kindly think of taking term insurance, because the premium of that insurance is very, very meager, and anybody can afford. Even if the person who is at age of 25 to 30 years can have life insurance cover of 1 crore rupees by paying a paltry monthly premium of hardly 500 or 600 rupees, which anybody can afford. And insurance, sir, we all know, early you take, lesser will be the premium. So kindly don't keep it deferring. Normally people keep it deferring. So kindly take adequate life insurance cover. Number second, for security, I will request all the participants, as Anand sir has also mentioned, kindly take adequate health insurance cover. And health insurance cover, Banerjee sir, is totally different than that of life insurance cover. Both are different things. People generally get confused. Arey Baba, I have taken life insurance cover, that why I should take health insurance cover? Life insurance cover serves the different purpose, and health insurance cover different purpose. Health insurance cover we should take because anything, any disease may develop in our body at any time, or we might met with an accident. And Banerjee sir, unfortunately, the governmental health system is not up to mark, unfortunately. So definitely we will all be forced to go to the private hospitals. But in private hospitals, sir, they charge exorbitantly. If a person remains there for more than 10, 12, 15 days, they may raise a bill of even more than 10 lakhs, from where that money will come for the ordinary person. For that purpose, I am requesting all the participants kindly take adequate health insurance cover. And if you have health insurance cover, then you go to the best hospital available, get the best treatment, come home recovered without paying anything. All hospital will be directly paid by the insurance company to the hospital. So that is the purpose and use of having health insurance cover. And nowadays, a very good health insurance policy is available, my dear friends. Banerjee sir knows it very well. That is called umbrella policy or floater policy. Very good health insurance cover. Because in this health insurance cover, all members of the, you can include your spouse, you can include your kids, you can include even your parents. And in one singular health insurance cover, all the members of the family are covered. If anything happens to any member of the family, they can get best treatment, and all expenses will be paid by the insurance company to the hospital directly. Third thing about security, Banerjee sir, is this pandemic has taught us hundreds of lessons, but the most important lesson this pandemic has taught us, that every family must have an emergency fund of around 5 to 7 lakhs. Why we should have it? Because, sir, Banerjee sir, university professor have been very lucky. They got salary, they got allowances continued, nothing happened to them. But at the same time, Banerjee sir, we know lakhs of people had lost their job. Lakhs of people have got substantial reduction in their salaries and income. Businesses were closed, professions were closed. People have passed through a very tough time in their life. And this corona has still not gone. It may continue for years together, or a new virus may come in, or some emergency might come in our life. For that, I am requesting all the participants kindly develop an emergency fund of around 5 to 7 lakhs. And of course, 5 to 7 lakh is not a small amount for all of us. We can develop it over a period of time, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years, and maybe 5 years. But once it is there, Banerjee sir, we have to make a promise with ourselves, taking our family into confidence, that we will never use this emergency fund for any other purpose except for the emergencies. Because temptation will always be there. When South sir will have 5-7 lakhs rupees in as an emergency fund, their family will definitely keep telling them, go for vacation, have this celebration, this and that thing. That is very natural. But we have to make a promise that we will never use this fund. For that will be used only in case of emergency, in future. And this, I am not saying you put it in currency form at home or leave it in your bank account. Better you make an FD of that amount, because FD liquid, we can withdraw at any time. Or you can put some amount, if you are comfortable with, in the liquid fund of the mutual fund. That is also liquid. You can withdraw at any time. So the third thing is emergency fund of around 5 to 7 lakh. Banerjee sir, I have told these 3 things only for security. It might not give you any comfort with regard to prosperity. But again, I am requesting security come first. At least from my perception, security come first. So all participants, particularly young participants, kindly develop these 3 things when you start career in your life, in the first year or second year itself. Now I come to prosperity, sir. And as Anand sir has just rightly mentioned, Our main source of income, Banerjee sir, is our salary. Normally salary class people, the main source of income is our salary. We try very hard to get jump in our salary by having more degrees, by having more, acquiring more add-on degrees and all these things. Definitely it is there. But sir, one most important thing we normally ignore, particularly in middle class, salary class person. That is the second aspect which Dr. Anand had just mentioned very categorically. That is, my money should also earn money for me. First aspect is that I should earn money. That is their most important thing, because without it, we will not be looking at the second aspect. But we should not stop at this aspect only. We should give equal importance to the aspect of my money making money for me. Normally, Banerjee sir, this aspect we leave it to the industrialist, to the businessman. Arey Baba, this is not our job. We are salary class person, but no sir. We have to give equal importance to that aspect as well. And my session will be more on that aspect as well. Because first aspect, Banerjee sir is taking care of their students, and the South sir is taking care of their students. They are equipping themselves to get degree and going for the job market or for starting a business or enterprise. So the main source of our income, Banerjee sir, is our salary. A majority of our salary goes into taking care of our regular expenses. Maybe 60%, maybe 70%, maybe 80%. But one thing is there, Banerjee sir, you will appreciate with me that one thing, Indians have got a unique DNA, a unique mindset. Every Indian want to take away some money out of their income, which he don't want to spend. He might be earning, sir, 10,000, he might be earning 10 lakhs. But every earning person tries sincerely to take away some money out of their income. And the money which we don't spend, Banerjee sir, out of our income, we generally call it savings. So we are all savers. We are all savers. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying nothing new about saving, but two very specific requests I want to make all young participants. We are savers, but Banerjee sir, we are casual in saving. This month I might be saving 10,000, next month it might be 8,000, third year it might be 12,000, and fourth month it might even be 0. So first request to all the participants, kindly identify an amount which you can comfortably save. And Banerjee sir, I am leaving it to them. I am not prescribing anything, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. You identify yourself. Suppose South sir says that my income is 50,000 and my expenses are 40,000. Then what he is saying indirectly that he can save 10,000. Then my request is very simple but emphatic. Kindly save this 10,000 upfront. You must take away that amount from your salary. Then whatever remains, you manage your affairs. That discipline has to be developed. And Banerjee sir, it is a tough task, I know, but it is not impossible. We can do it provided we commit to it. We can do it provided we promise that we have to do it. So firstly, kindly identify amount of saving and then keep saving that amount. Secondly, keep increasing your savings minimum by 10% every year. Again, that is achievable, sir, because we get increment, we get DA, our income increases with a passage of time. And even when you are in business or profession, our income keep increasing. So with the increase in income, we must increase our savings also minimum by 10%. These two things, Banerjee sir, I feel might look very damn easy, but the most important fundamental pillar for your prosperity. Most important thing for your wealth creation. So kindly think of these two things with regard to saving. Now the question arises, what to do with the savings? What we do? Normally, there are two options available, Banerjee sir, with regard to savings. One option is, which a fool like me can do, is that whatever I am saving, I am religiously saving. But what I nonsensely doing is, I am taking out that money from my bank account, putting it home in currency for me every month, or leaving that amount in my bank account. Never, never, never do this, because it is a gross injustice to ourselves, to our family, and to our country as a whole. Then naturally what to do? Kindly put this amount, number one, into acquisition of some assets value which will increase in future, or in some financial instrument which will give us periodical and regular return. And sir, the process of putting our saving into some assets or in financial instrument, South sir knows it very well. It is called investment. And sir, we are all investors. Again, we are all savers and we are all investors as well. We are all investors. So we do save and invest. But unfortunately, Banerjee sir, I don't know whether you will agree with me or not. Most of the middle class, salary class person just remain money accumulators in their life. They don't become wealth creators. And for prosperity, sir, wealth creation is a must. We must appreciate and realize that for prosperity, wealth creation is a must. But unfortunately, most of us just remain money accumulators. And top of it, sir, we don't accept it. Majority of us will not accept it. No. Banerjee sir will say, I am not, Sahu Saab might be. Mr. Sahu say, I am not, Mr. Bag might be. Because we don't accept that we are money accumulators. We are not wealth creators. So first we should understand what is the difference between money accumulation and wealth creation. And for that, Sahu sir, if kindly permit me to take your name. Just a very simple example I am sharing with you. And through that, I will try to make you understand, make the participant what the money accumulation and wealth creation. Suppose, Sahu sir, you are having 1 lakh rupees with you, and you go for the bank FD, bank fixed deposit. I am taking the example of bank FD because most of the person aware about the bank FD. Even students are aware about the bank FD. So you go for the bank FD for 1 year. The present rate, Sahu sir, is around 6%. After 1 year, I and Banerjee sir meet you and just ask you what happened to your FD. Sahu sir is happy. He says, I have earned 6,000 rupees on my bank FD, and he's happy. When I say, sir, are you right? Then he says, I am absolutely right. But Sahu sir, you are not right. Why you are not right? Because you literally ignore two very important factors while analyzing return on your investment. The first and foremost important factor, Banerjee sir, we all know it, inflation. Inflation is the most important factor. We talk about the inflation right day in, day out, but we don't factor in while analyzing return. And what is inflation, sir? Inflation is nothing but increase in the prices of goods, item or services over a period of time. Simply speaking, inflation is like this only. Increase in the prices of goods, item or services over a period of time. So last year when Professor Sahu was going for bank FD, whatever he could have purchased from 1 lakh rupees, Sahu sir, would you be able to purchase same item, same services or avail same services after 1 year at 1 lakh rupees? No, sir. I think your answer will be no. Because of inflation, prices have increased. Suppose the inflation rate has been 5%. What does it mean? It simply means that after 1 year, Professor Sahu will need to pay for the same item, same goods and services, not 1 lakh rupees, but 1,05,000 rupees because the inflation rate has been 5%. Now you see the proposition, sir. Sahu sir, you are very happy when you earn 6,000. But out of 6,000, Banerjee sir, in reality, 5,000 has been eaten by the inflation. But still, Sahu sir is happy. He is having
1,800 by paying tax, sir.
I am coming to that as well, sir. I am coming to that, sir. So he is still happy because he is having 1,000 rupees. But sir, other factor is also there. That is taxability on return and income. We all know, as Sahu sir just pointed out. Suppose even he is in 20% bracket. So on 6,000 you earn, as per extent income tax rule, sir, you will need to pay 20% income tax also, and you will need to include in your return. In our time, at least in Banerjee sir time, Banerjee sir, you might be aware that in those times we didn't used to include such income in our income tax. Arey Baba, who will come to take income tax from our income tax department? Let it be. Most people were not showing, but nowadays, Professor Sahu sir, because of technology, all such information is automatically available with the income tax department. So you will need to save it. Now you see the proposition, sir. Out of 6,000 you earn, you were very happy, Banerjee sir. But out of that, 5,000 had been eaten by the inflation, and 1,200, even 20% income, 1,200 you paid an income tax. Now you see the proposition. Did you get anything in reality, sir? No. Rather 200 rupees has gone out of your pocket. And Banerjee, sir, unfortunately, most of us like this only. Our investments are like this only. We don't get any real return. Whatever we get is notional return only. And my dear friends, you must understand that notional return is not going to create wealth for you. For wealth creation, you have to earn real return on your investment. Kindly understand it very, very carefully. And unfortunately, we don't earn that income. But now, what is the reason, Banerjee sir, may I ask you, what is the reason that most of us are money accumulators? There must be some reason. Yes, sir, reason is there. And that reason lies in our mindset, not outside, somewhere in mindset. We middle class, salary class person don't want to take any risk. Arey Baba, don't talk about risk. When my session come at this stage, sir, a message, 1 or 2 message will come in the chat box. Sir, tell us something about safe investment. But unfortunately, my dear participants, the term safe investment is an illusion. Because investment has got risk. Kindly understand and appreciate it. Investment has got risk. Sudhin sir, except governmental saving scheme, all investment have got risk. So first we have to accept that in investment risk is there. And the risk may be of 2-3 types. I don't have time to elaborate that risk, but risk is there. Now, but most important thing is, Banerjee sir, we can manage our risk. That assurance I can give to young participant, my dear friend. We can manage our risk. How? I'm just sharing a very simple 2-word formula, Banerjee sir, to you, to young participants, not to you, sir. You are already a senior person, but to young participants, through which you can manage your risk, you can minimize your risk, but at the same time, you must understand that you can't make your risk zero. Always, there will always be some degree of risk, sir. Maybe high, maybe moderate, or maybe low, but risk will always be there. But how we can do it? I just sharing 2-word formula. Kindly note it down. If particularly young participant, if they want to note it down, note it down. Think, understand, and invest. Banerjee sir, I have used only 2 words. Think, understand, and invest. The first word is think. What we have to think? We have to think 2 things about ourselves. The first is my risk appetite. What is my risk appetite? Your all decision should be strictly as per your risk appetite. And Banerjee sir, every individual has got different risk appetite because of income, because of family obligation, because of social structures, we have got different risk appetite. So kindly take your investment decision strictly according to your risk appetite. And second thing is time horizon of investment. That is equally important, sir. And normally we don't give credence to such thing, but time horizon of investment is investment is equally important. If I had time, I would have explained these 2 aspects elaborately, but sorry, I'm summing them up. Next time, when I have time, we will give a detailed presentation on it. So 2 things are there about thinking about it: time, risk appetite, and time horizon of investment. And second word is understand. We have to understand where I am investing. What is the risk inbuilt in that product? Whether my risk broadly matches with the product risk. And equally, whether my time horizon of investment broadly matches with the time horizon of investment product. These things have to be looked into before taking any investment decision. So kindly take an informed decision. And one more thing, which Dr. Anand has elaborately mentioned here. Summing above, sir, every family must have financial plan. Sudhin sir, every family must have financial plan, because financial plan will give you a crystal clear picture what money you will need at what time. That is financial plan. And financial plan is not a rocket science. We can sit with our family, just jot down the milestone in our life, time period, and the money required. And we all can have financial plan. So kindly have financial plan for all family. one more thing I wish to mention about investment, Banerjee sir, and that is very, very important. That is rule of compounding. And it is eighth wonder of the world. You may accept it or not, but rule of compounding is eighth wonder of the world in investment. And in investment, Sudhin sir, simply speaking, you have to make a promise with yourself. Very simply speaking, that whenever and whatever income or return I will get on my investment, I will never use that income for my personal affairs, for my celebration or for my vacation, for any other thing. What I will do, I will simply club that return with my regular investment and reinvest it. That promise and commitment has to be there. And my dear participant, kindly mind it, if you practice this in your life of investment, I can promise you down the line after 15, 20 years, the return portion will be much, much bigger than your original investment. But Sudhin sir, it will not happen today. It will not happen tomorrow. It will take time. So investment requires your patience. Investment requires your patience to multiply the things. So kindly follow rule of compounding very, very religiously in your investment decisions. Now, second, next Bharatji sir, have I 5-7 minutes more?
Yeah, I think, participants have, found a lot of interest in your talking so far. So I am requesting you to continue a little bit. You take a logical time of another 10 minutes, I think, not 5-7.
Okay,
okay, sir.
Okay. Otherwise, normally I take 2 hours. Normally I take
please take at least 10 minutes,
sir,
and
please
then
continue.
after that we will
Sir,
find
please
out.
continue.
Thank you.
Please
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I am talking what are the investment options available for the middle class salary. That is equally important, sir. What are the options available for the middle class salary class person? The first and foremost investment option, Sudhin sir, available for people like you and me is the governmental saving scheme. And top of the governmental saving scheme, South sir knows it very well. It is Public Provident Fund account, PPF account. It is one of the, Banerjee sir, I feel it is one of the best governmental scheme. Very good scheme. And I urge all participants, particularly young ones, you must subscribe to PPF account. You must open your account PPF. It is a very good scheme. It is a triple E scheme, Banerjee sir. Exempt, no tax at all. And it is, the scheme is for 15 years, but Sudhin sir, it can be extended for another period of 5 years, another period of 5 years, and another period of 5 years. So kindly keep it continue unless you need money. Firstly. Secondly, even today, PPF is having interest rate of 7.10%, which is not a bad one. It is reasonable return. And minimum amount you can deposit, Sudhin sir, is 500 rupees in a year, and maximum amount 1.50 lakhs. Income tax exemption is also allowed. 2 very small things I wish to request about PPF is, kindly try to deposit 1.50 lakhs if possible at the beginning of the financial year, because that will give you full investment interest for the full year. And secondly, if you are depositing in every month or in months, then do one small thing. Kindly always deposit the amount before 5th of every month, because interest will not come accrue on your the deposit if you deposit it after 5th. So these are very small things, but these become very important when the return, you get the return on your PPF account. So kindly open PPF account. Second option in governmental scheme is National Saving Certificate, NSC, where we can deposit. Third option is post office schemes and bank schemes. I could have elaborated all these things in detail, but I don't have time. So no issue. Next time we will do. Fourth is governmental securities. And Sudhin sir, last month, Honorable Prime Minister has started a portal, RBI Retail Central. RBI Retail Central, very good portal, where through which we ordinary people can also invest in government securities now. You get yourself registered and you can regularly invest in that account. And after that, RBI also keep issuing bonds, Sudhin sir, tax-free bonds and taxable bonds. Very good proposition for the long term. And RBI is still giving around 7 and 7.5% 0.5% return on that bond. So that is also a good proposition. Last one is public sector undertakings also regularly issue debenture and bond for the public to subscribe. And now government has given a institutional format of that is Bharat Bond 1 and Bharat Bond 2. Again, a very good proposition, a reasonable return. But all the uniqueness of all these schemes, Rajesh sir, is that there is no risk. There is no risk. Whatever government is committing, government will give you return. And when scheme matures, you will also get your money back. So I personally feel, Sudhin sir, that a normal middle class, salary class person should invest around 15 to 20% of their investment in governmental scheme. Return might be reasonable, but without any risk, sir. So we should think about it. After that, whatever investment options are available, Sudhin sir, all have got risk now. Kindly understand it very fully. Second one is real estate and property, where we can invest. I'm not an expert in it. My friend Tarak sir might be an expert on property and real estate. Next time he will take a dedicated session on this whenever he has time. But property has got risk. And Banerjee sir, it is normally termed as illiquid assets because it takes time to liquidate the asset when you invest in property. Then return is not certain. And thirdly, whether you will be able to sell the property when you need the money. That is also a big question for all. But still, that option is available. I am not prescribing anything. Whatever you want, you can do it. Third option available for middle class, salary class person is, sir, gold, where we can invest. And Sudhi sir, I am not able to see any female participant, but when I start talking about the gold, they have got a special smile on their faces. Or Baba, gold, no problem at all. Or female members of our family are passionate about gold. And Banerjee sir, it is not today. It's for centuries together. Because gold we have treated as a safety valve for the family. It is a safety net which we develop. And Sudhin sir, you might be aware that when daughter's marriage is there, we give some gold in the form of jewelry. Why we give? There is very deep-rooted thinking that in case there is some problem in the daughter's family in future, at least they can manage that problem by mortgaging or selling the gold. That is why we give gold to the daughter. But nowadays, sir, things are changing very rapidly. Now gold can also be acquired in digital form, sir. We need not keep gold in physical form, because if Sudhin sir keep gold at home, he might not have sound sleep. Arey Baba, thief might come and take it away. Or if we keep it in locker, annual maintenance charges we will need to pay. So alternate is there. We can now acquire gold in digital form. And for that, a very good Government of India scheme is on, sir. Not private scheme, Government of India scheme. That is called Sovereign Gold Bond Scheme. Very good scheme of the Government of India. As far as gold is concerned, government will give you 2.5% interest on your investment. Firstly. Secondly, whatever the appreciation in the gold price, that will also be shared with you. And the scheme is for 8 years, sir. But you can sell that your acquired gold after 3 years, because that will be tradable on exchanges after 3 years. But if you keep it for 8 years, then capital gain benefit will also be available to you. And I personally feel we should not acquire gold in digital form now, or in physical form now. Better we should go, particularly youngsters are not interested in gold, sir, in that physical form. So if they want to invest, they can go into digital form. And in mutual fund also, exchange traded funds are there where you can invest. And I personally feel, Banerjee sir, I may be right or wrong, but I personally feel that a middle class, salary class person should have around 5 to 7% of their investment exposure in gold, if they wish. Because it is a safety net we are developing. And third and last thing is security market, sir, where we can invest. Anand sir has also mentioned about equity fund, stocks, and a lot of things. But I want to tell you one thing, sir. I always keep advising my participants in my sessions. Never invest into security market unless and until you have knowledge of the market. That is a precondition, Sudhin sir. Because normally people do invest in the security market on the advice of others, some agent or some friends or some relations. That is a wrong notion. That is a wrong thing. Never do it. Unless and until you have knowledge of the market, please don't invest into the market directly. I don't have time. Next time, Sudhin sir, if you are interested, we can have a technical session of security market for your students at least. So they can know better, understand what the security market, how they function, what is the ingredients of security market. So next time when Tarak sir will have convenience, we will have a dedicated session on security market for the students. So in security market, there are three ways we can invest. One is primary market, other is secondary market, and third one is through mutual fund. Primary market is a direct investment. Secondary market is direct investment, but mutual fund is an indirect investment in security market. I will not touch upon primary and secondary market. Next time we will do. Indirect investment, Tarak sir, I want to mention just for 3-4 more minutes. Mutual fund is an indirect way of investing into security market. But Banerjee sir, most of the people have perception that mutual fund is security market. That is the other name of security market. Sudhin sir, it is not. Mutual fund is much beyond security market, in the sense that in mutual fund, there are schemes, Sudhin sir, which will invest your money in governmental securities. In mutual fund, there are schemes, Sudhin sir, which will invest your money in property and real estate. In mutual fund, there are schemes which will invest your money in gold. In mutual fund, there are schemes which will invest your money in international corporates. You are sitting at Calcutta at your place, and you can invest in Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon. That facility mutual fund also gives you. So mutual fund is not limited to security market, but of course, a vast majority of mutual fund scheme, Banerjee sir, relates to security market only. That is also a fact. In mutual fund, why we go for the mutual fund route, sir? Sudhin sir? Only because we don't have knowledge of the market, but we are giving our money to the experts to invest our money into the domain which we are contemplating and get return for us. So Sudhin sir, mutual fund is not a social service. It is purely a proposition where I give money with a clear expectation that I will get maximum return out of my investment. That is there. That is why we give. And why we give? Because experts have knowledge of the market. They have got experience of the market. They live in the market 24 hours. They know about the corporate. They know about the sector. They know about the security market. They know about the economy. All these things, they are better aware of us. That is why we are giving our money to them. In mutual fund, there are two major categories of funds, sir. One is equity fund and second is debt fund. In debt fund, your savings will be invested into equity shares of the corporate, and that is listed now. Earlier, some portion was allowed in mutual fund in listed company, but 2019 onwards, SEBI had barred mutual fund to invest in unlisted companies. So now your money will be invested only in the listed equity funds, or in the equity shares and related instrument of the listed companies only. In equity funds, sir, risk is greater, but probability of getting higher return is there, sir. Kindly minded, sir. Probability of getting, but there is no guarantee, sir. If anybody gives you guarantee, he is wrong. There is no guarantee, but probability of getting higher return, Tarak sir, is there. But if you are not able to take much risk, like me and Banerjee sir, then other option is also available. That is debt fund. In that fund, your money is given as a loan to the corporates. And when a money is given as a loan to the corporates, Sudhin sir, definitely the risk will be relatively lesser, but return will also be reasonable. No extraordinary return. So those who are young, those who can take risk, those who wish to invest for longer tenure, equity fund is a better bet for them. But those who don't want to take much risk, those who are satisfied with the reasonable return, debt fund is the better proposition. And there are two plans in the mutual fund investment. One is direct plan, other is regular plan. In direct plan, Banerjee sir, we can go directly on the online of the websites of the AMCs. select the scheme, give the information online, attach your bank, give our bank account details, we are invested. In regular plan, we will need to take the services of the mutual fund distributor duly registered with Amfi. They will come to you, they will help you out in filling the form, they will take documents from you, but for definitely for all these services, they will get some commission or fees. And Banerjee sir, that fees or commission will go out of your return or income. That is why in regular plan, return will always be lesser than direct plan. And I will urge all young participants particularly go for the direct plan only. But because of any reason you are not able to do it, go to the regular plan. But now SEBI has given this facility that after 2-3 years, you can switch from regular plan to direct plan. That facility is also now available. The magic of the mutual fund, Sudhin sir, is SIP, Systematic Investment Plan. That I also want to share 1 or 2 minutes. It is nothing, Sudhin sir, but a recurring account we open with the bank or post office. Every month regularly we are depositing some amount. So SIP is a proposition where an investor regularly invests some amount, fixed amount. Maybe minimum amount is 500, maximum amount is no limit. You, Sudhin sir, can invest up to 10 lakhs, no problem at all. But minimum amount is 500 rupees. So SIP is a magic. Why I am saying you, sir? Because over a period of time, Banerjee sir, when you are regular investor through SIP, it is a magic. It can do wonders for you. And for that, I am sharing you one example. In example, Banerjee sir, facts are there, but I will not name the scheme because that will be unfair on my part to market that scheme. So I will not name the scheme, but facts I am sharing, Sudhin sir. One equity fund was started in 1995 by a mutual fund company. Note down the date, Sudhin sir, very carefully. In 1995, one equity fund was started by a mutual fund company, and a smart investor like Tarak sir started an SIP of 10,000 rupees per month. Means every month he is investing 10,000 on a particular date. He is continuously investing right from 1995 to 2022. Not a single gap. Regularly he is investing, whether the market has gone up, whether the market has gone down. He has not taken cognizance of the movement of the market. He has been absolutely regular in investing 10,000 per month through SIP and SI in that equity scheme. Sudhin sir, can you imagine what is the corpus today? Can you just imagine what the amount has become? 9.57 crore. 9.57 crore. But two things are very clear, Banerjee sir. Mr. Tarak never stop SIP. Normally what happens when market goes up, people start investing in mutual fund or security market. When market goes down, people get scary. They stop SIP. They stop investing in security market. But the crux of the success, Sudhin sir, is that once we start SIP, you should never stop your SIP. And you should continue it for 15-20 years. And if you do it, rest assured, you will get huge return. And Banerjee sir, I don't know whether you will agree with me or not. I personally feel, sir, next 25 years are going to be golden period of Indian economy. I personally feel. But who will get the benefit of that golden period, Sudhin sir? Only those who are investors. There are two categories of persons, sir, Sudhin sir. One category is, and vast majority of that only, one category is a person who go to the stadium, see the match, eat the popcorn and come home clapping and giving ticket. And other category is players who get benefit of that game. So we have to be player. We have to be invest to get the benefit of the expanding Indian economy. That is I keep telling in every session, particularly young participants, next 25 years are going to be golden period of Indian economy, but the benefit will be available only to those persons who are real investors. So kindly think of it. I don't. Okay, last two things, sir, Banerjee sir, I wish to request to all the participants. Last two things. Of course, I have left out a lot of things which I would have wished to share. One, sir, Banerjee sir, one menace is in our country, unfortunately, and that is called Sudhin sir, and Bengal has been the one of the top sufferer of that menace, sir. That is chit fund, Ponzi scheme and committees. There are lot of schemes across country where people will come to you, promise you higher return, doubling your money in 3 or 4 years. One fine morning, they will take away your money and you lost your money. As a broad survey, Banerjee sir, more than 10 lakhs crores of rupees of such gullible investors have been lost in such schemes. And Bengal has been at the forefront, unfortunately. So, Tarak sir, I will request you and Sudhin sir and HOD sir, kindly start a campaign across your area with the help of students to make people aware that they should never invest their hard-earned money in Ponzi scheme, chit fund and committee. And Banerjee sir, we all know we will not be investing. We are all educated person. Normally, who invests? Your maid servant, your peon, your clerk, your milk vendor, your taxi driver. They people get the temptation. They think that they will get higher return, double their money in 4 or 5 years, but it will never happen. So kindly, Sudhin sir, make those people aware they should never invest their hard-earned money into such schemes. If they don't have any idea about the investment, simply put their money in bank or post office. At least, Banerjee sir, their money will be safe. Return might be reasonable, but at least their money will be safe. So kindly start this campaign. It is my personal request to all faculty members. And last thing, Banerjee sir, I am saying this through respected Banerjee sir to all the participants. I am not saying it. Banerjee sir is saying it. I am just putting my words there. Prosperity is my right. Every individual has got to be prosper. Prosperity is my right. I might have born, Banerjee sir, into a poor family. That is sheer incident that I might have born into a poor family, but I must not remain poor. I must not live as poor, and I must not die as poor. And that is, Sudhin sir, 100% possible, provided we started working seriously about our savings and investment right from the month we started. So this is the thing I wanted to share with all of you. Again, I am very sorry, Banerjee sir, if I have taken a little bit more time. Thank you very much, sir, to all of you.
Thank you much, Mr. Suryakant. It is a wonderful session taken by you. You know, I wish that you continue for 5-6 hours and we keep on hearing you. I wish that, you know, someday we'll try to arrange something in a broader, larger context for that. And once again, thank you so much, Mr. Suryakant. I'd request Professor Taraknath Shahu and Professor Devashish বিশ্বাস for a decision. Meaning, my idea is let us take one question now for each of our speakers, and then I'll close with my remarks. You know,
yes, sir,
if that is okay, then
Devashish, there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions in the chat box, and Dr. Devashish বিশ্বাস will read out the questions.
Yes.
I think Dr. বিশ্বাস, you identified 2 questions now. You identify at least 2 questions from the question, meaning leading one which can cover many other issues.
Exactly.
A question which can cover many other issues. Exactly. And you present one question to, Professor Upadhyay and one question to Mr. Suryakant. If required, then we'll repeat that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, taking your kind permission, I am just read out the pertinent question that has been dropped to our chat box by the respondents or participants. One question was put by Shoel Hajari, and the specific question is: a middle class salary person who are not earning enough money, and how he will provide security of our family financially and from health perspective. That is one question.
Dr. Anand may like to take it, but before that, Dr. Anand, I will also seek your observation about my session. I will seek your blessings.
Okay, thank you. So here it's a good question. So as I told you before, all our financial planning is based on our earnings. So if you earn 100 rupees and we have to learn the habit of saving something out of it. Let's say if I earn 100 rupees, I have to sacrifice to some extent for the sake of future. So the first foundation of financial planning begins with habit of savings. The habit of savings happens only by postponing the consumption. So if that is not possible, and financial planning is also not possible. So the first lesson in financial planning is postponing the current consumption for the purpose of future benefit. If it happens, then we can plan. If that is not possible, then it is not possible. See, financial planning is not something like you borrow money and make planning. That's not possible. That is not the financial planning. So the first thing, if, as you said, it's yes, there is a problem, like in middle class family, because of family size or whatever. If you earn 100 rupees, then 100 rupees may not be enough to make meet the current consumption. So here comes, as Warren Buffett says, whenever the income is not sufficient, then we have to think of passive income. Like our previous speaker at the end, he made a concluding remark: we born as a poor, but dying as a poor is not our destiny. This is all our skill. So that's why we have to find the way to generate passive income. So the passive income will help you to some extent. Like for example, nowadays young generation, especially young generation, they have learned the habit of trading and all. Again, it's a risky FS, and even otherwise you have to have some passive income, and so that you have to manage. So in one sentence, if your current income is sufficient to meet your expenses, so that you can't make financial planning, then you have to find the way of enhancing your current income to meet the expenses, as well as to find the way of generating more savings. So this is my suggestion. Thank you.
Okay. Requesting Mr. Suryakant to give your view also on this, because you have also covered this in your talk.
But Dr. Anand has aptly covered this thing, but just I want to add that the question has been asked about the security, more about security. And I personally feel that in India, at least, we can get security at the minimum amount now. That is possible. Earlier, it was not available. But when the term insurance has come, you can have an insurance cover of 1 crore rupees by paying a monthly premium of hardly 400 or 500 rupees, sir. Which Banerjee, sir, anybody can do. Likewise, for health insurance also, because of competition, premiums are relatively has become very competitive.
Yes, yes.
So, and if your employer is giving you reasonable health cover, then okay, that is okay. But if your employer is not giving you adequate health cover, then you can take independent health cover also. That is possible. And Dr. Anand is very right, my dear participants. You have to work hard first to earn more. That is there, because without that it is not possible to save and make secure.
And
Professor Vishwas, the next question.
yes. So other questions which have already covered, the questions are how to compound money. So this has been covered, and what is mean by investment. All these things are covered. Another question is which investment? This question was put by Dr. P. Kalai Selvi, and the particular question is which investment will fetch more return?
Okay.
Sir,
more return? You pick up. Mr. Suryakant or Professor Upadhyay, you please speak up. Which one,
Sir, honestly speaking, nothing can be standardized. But it is not because investment is in art and science both.
Yes.
It is in art and science both. Sometimes, of course, investment options again are individual to individual only. Some investment might be good for me, but might not be good for the Tarak sir, because he's young. Likewise, time horizon of investment is equally important. Normally, people don't give credence to such that thing, because suppose I want the return in three months, then product has to be different. But if I return in for 3 years or 30 years, then the product will be totally different. So every product is different. So you can't standardize that this product is good and this product. Every investment product is good, provided
Excellent.
you look it from your perspective.
Excellent. Professor Upadhyay, if you want to add on.
Yeah. So here, I think when you make a financial planning, like it's a financial planning is like consulting a doctor, like financial doctor. Like if you ask which is going to give highest return, before answering that question, what purpose you want high return? So we cannot, give plain answer that this is going to give highest return. So basically, we have to plan for which purpose we are making that particular investment. Like, for example, if I am planning for investment for my son, let's assume my son is now, let's say 4 years, and I want, let's say, big amount by the time he reaches 18 years or 20. So then I have a 15 years of time, around 10 to 15 years of time horizon. So in that particular case, we suggest a different option. So answer this question, we must understand what's your basic need. So as I told as I shown in my slide, so there are 3 different options are there: liquid investment, liquid funds, and debt funds, as well as equity funds. So if the time horizon is small, as I told you, you will go for rice cultivation, like liquid fund. So return will be less and risk will be less. And if the time horizon is medium, different options are there. So in general, so in financial advising, we say that if you have long-term time horizon, equity is the best option. Again, as I told you, systematic equity investment only is going to give a better return on quality stock, not just kind of gambling or trading. So equity, to be frank with you, so equity, the quality equity stocks is going to give a better long-term return than any other things. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Professor Biswas, I think we have taken 2 representative questions. Then if any other question is there, we'll take in the chat box, and maybe we'll be returning back to the concerned person with specific answers drawn from our distinguished speakers.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Sir, it is absolutely fine. More or less, we have covered all the queries put by the participants in this webinar.
Okay, thank you. I'll now take a few minutes to, take a close look at from a conclusive angle. Not just only conclusive, but also I'll take you from what Mr. Mr. Suryakant and Professor Upadhyay has actually ended up with. I'll take cues from there and then move forward a little bit from a theoretical angle, and also from a practical with a practical touch. First, I'll quote Kautilya. Mr. Suryakant, probably you would be knowing. Of course, Professor Upadhyay also, and most of our teachers and most of us. Tashmiyat taduttito manava karyat artho anusasana. Arthasya moolam utthanam anarthasya viparyaya. Meaning what Kautilya has been saying, that, the root to what you have said, that you have to take initiative for creating wealth. Wealth creation is a function of the mind and energy, and also, of course, from the mind, it comes as strategy. For example, if you take a look at the Indian stock market, what Professor Upadhyay just now mentioned, if you take a look at the Indian stock market 2014 until 2021 end. 2014, if you remember, our BSE Sensex had a mark of less than 10,000. And it's now grown close to 70,000 mark. There is a expectation that it's going to move further and may touch 1 lakh limit within the next 6 months. I'm saying May. But then every year I had taken a look at it, and I've seen, like some of the leading Chinese indices, some of the leading US indices, some of the leading Asian indices. If you do a comparison of that, you will find by and large, sorry, what Mr. Srirakant had mentioned, that mutual funds have actually stood by the investor. The example of taking Professor Taraknath's name, that 9 crore example that he has given by investing 10,000 per month for such a long period. Sorry, it was a unique example, and actually there is a steady growth in stock markets all the world over. If you look at Dow Jones, if you look at German indices, Deutsche Index, if you look at Tokyo Index, if you look at Hang Seng, if you look at other indices of Asian markets, and also our BC index, it is irrespective of the functioning, political functioning and functioning by the managers of the economy in many cases, and in some cases directly under impact of the sentiments created in the economy that has happened. I'll give an example of probably you must be knowing about Henry Kissinger, a person. He was an external affairs minister of U.S. government when this President Nixon was the president. And President Nixon wanted to have a relationship with China. It's way back, before oil crash, before second oil crash in the 70s. And Henry Kissinger was the first person who had initiated to have a dialogue with China. 1987, World Bank took an initiative to have a Chinese market in the world and connect China to the world by way of handing over the Hong Kong from UK to China. World Bank had mediated that, and China got back its Hong Kong. You see, the markets were revived and connected with the Chinese economy. The way they've grown, there are two aspects of it. I was talking about explore wealth, maintain wealth, and enhance wealth. These three are the fundamental objectives of mutual funds. Now, explore wealth becomes very important. One company called, BlackRock, which is now the largest investment company in the world. It's more than $9 trillion US company. I think right now it's close to $10 trillion US. 9.5 trillion plus. The largest, fund manager in the world. When they started, it's the mix had, Japanese young people also in the team. Somebody US, somebody. What they decided is, they decided to go for the equity investment directly in the company, not in the secondary market first. So their strategy was to get connected with the companies, directly participating in the company's equity shares, and be part of the company's management worldwide, and targeting Fortune 500 to be a major in the Fortune 500, which they did. And for the emergence of China also, the funding that they could create is actually, it was the sources that came. BlackRock is one of the leaders in that. And Amazon and almost all leading, Microsoft, Apple, almost all leading, they are with, this, they were, almost more than 20 years in many cases. They are with this, BlackRock and others. The emergence of Abu Bakr also in the Middle East. I think Professor Upadhyay could be knowing much better than me. And Abu Bakr had emerged as a fund manager. And this fund management also had focused on equity. And the point that I'm trying to mention is Indian equity, meaning Indian mutual funds. I'm not advising anything to Amfi, but I'm saying something which could be, discussed if they consider. Like Indian mutual fund companies have primarily chosen the kind of, the portfolio In the portfolio, they have primarily chosen the equity tag in this. But sometimes you have to tag with the manufacturing. The growth will with the manufacturing has to come directly to you as an impact. And if that comes, because 90s United States had a penetration via these activities of overseas manufacturing through Chinese low or labor cost. And this shifting of the manufacturing base and connecting with that in a financial model, which was actually Alan Greenspan's model. And that model had, massive success for them. And the investors who had invested in this had actually a real time, getting the funds back through, appreciation. So what we have to do is, as our honorable speakers have mentioned, that you should be risk aware, depending upon your risk hunger. I have an objection on this. This word Gorafas, when he was talking about this theory of chaos, he was mentioning about this risk appetite. And this risk as an appetite has been mentioned by most of our, even Alan Sapiro also has mentioned, and many other scholars have mentioned, Nobel laureates have mentioned. I have a reservation for this word. Nobody has an appetite for risk. Nobody wants to, engulf risk or consume risk. But people are actually, put into a situation where there's no choice. You have to take a risk. So risk by choice, risk not by choice. This could be a situation. And sometimes risk by compulsion. Bankruptcy occurs at times when it is a risk by compulsion. Non-bankruptcy, it's a risk by choice and not by choice. Government is a risk-free investment everywhere in the world, but not always. And so far, so good. Like, Indian economy has given, quite good return and responses with the government always. So in Indian context, we can say the government securities are really, risk-free securities. But again, if a young person wants to make money, small money, trying to make large, make big, as our speakers have advised that, earlier the better. If you start at the green age, and then when you ripe in age and you get the return, which is a fabulous. And so that is a green investment is something, which is a kind of suggestion. And in a green investment, risk return trade-off has to be there. I suggest that, when we do a risk calculation, let's say relative risk measure of beta, and the market beta we take, and then corporate, equity beta we try to calculate. If you take a leverage condition of the beta, say for example, leverage beta for the portfolio that you have created, and at the same time you calculate your lambda for that and create a risk triangle, and the risk triangle will give you the maximum, from a theoretical perspective, if you do an analysis, it will give you the best choice in a given situation. And the situations will change, and as and when the situation changes, your risk triangle will have a changed position, and also your locus will change. So we can create a curve which would give us a locus for this and extend that. Given a ceteris paribus, given the same condition, we can have a expectation that this should grow in the same way or maintain in the same way. So that way, from a investor's point of view, if we select, as Mr. Suryakant has mentioned about certain government securities, for example, earlier in the insurance market, earlier in the PPF, earlier in the government treasury, RBI treasury, earlier in the risk-free markets. This is one which a part of your investment, if you allow to grow, and the remaining part you trade off in the market. And as you said, your idea for the market is very important. I support the same thing also. But again, I'll tell, always calculations won't be sufficient for the market. Bombay bookies do better than, some of our calculations through neural network. Some of the, calculations through neural network would end up giving you 34 to 40% maximum, guarantee or maximum compliance or maximum conformity to what exactly is going to happen. But again, Bombay bookies give even up to 70% of conformity. So if that happens, that means perceptive factor or our intuitive factors of the market, understanding of the market through intuitive means also play a very, very major role. That has to be, considered as well. So from all this perspective, what I find is, mutual fund, if I am unable to put in my mind into that, if I have, constraints into that, and I don't have much time for that, I don't have much of focus into that, I don't have much of likings for that, yet I want to make some investment and get some fortunes from, then in that particular case, your mutual fund is your good friend and probably one of the best friends. And from that perspective, mutual fund plays a great, great role. In our country, mutual fund has a very strong scope to grow. It hasn't yet grown that way, actually. It should grow to its, blossoming potential. And, the journey has begun. And therefore, I would urge upon people that, yes, we may consider the mutual fund, but which you have to decide, what kind of you have to decide, and what could be your exposure duration, you have to decide, what variety, you look into this and you decide, but to get into that, and if you find that, this is comfortably giving you support in financial terms, then that's really great for a person. The Sanskrit verse that I uttered in the beginning, taking quote from Kautilya's Arthashastra, is actually talking about initiative. What, yesterday's budget, the finance minister has mentioned about production-linked incentive. Production-linked incentive introduced in the budget means the activities are connected to the, areas of my own initiative and growth areas created through my own initiative or my participation in the growth areas and getting benefit out of that. The same concept was there in the Reagan economics. In the Reagan economics, if you remember, Reagan economics was a production-linked incentive introduced into the market by the government and through the government initiative. This can be translated into personal finance also. Personal finance could be connected through a incentive finance, which could be a personally created incentive finance through this mode of, investments. And the investments could be re-engineered every month or every quarter, and or maybe every year also. And if this is a re-engineered investment, that goes along. So this is my, views. That's what I mentioned. But what we have learned from Professor Upadhyay and Mr. Suryakant is a wonderful thing, a very practical lesson for an individual, how to invest, where to invest, and when to invest, what could be the duration, what are the instruments, where the risk is high, where the risk is low, and why to, we at which age to select what. It's a wonderful session. I offer my salute to Mr. Suryakant and Professor Upadhyay for their wonderful talks, and my sincere thanks to the department, to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, to the Honorable Dean and Dean Arts and Dean Science, to the Register, Honorable Register, and to my dear colleagues in the department, and my sincere thanks to all participants, all dear students and scholars who have joined, and teachers, our colleagues in the market, in the entire area in our nation. For that, I offer sincere thanks from my end to you all. Thank you very much. I close my talk here. Over to you, Professor Debashish Vishwas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now we are at the last stage of our international webinar. So now I am requesting Dr. Sudhin Bagh, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, to offer the vote of thanks to all the dignitaries. Please, Dr.
Hello,
Bagh.
am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Dr. Vishyash, for giving me this opportunity to offer grand vote of thanks to all the dignitaries and the delegates and others who are present over here. So, on behalf of the Department of Business Administration, Vidyasagar University, myself, Dr. Shudin Bagh, going to offer the grand vote of thanks to you all. Today we are here to celebrate 75th independence of our country, and in this webinar is a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The title of this webinar is Managing Personal Finance and Wealth Creation. After 2.5 hours of discussion, we learned that we can manage our personal finance. If we are dedicated, if we are determined to create the wealth for us, for our family, even for the nation, with the goal of sustainable development, we can do it. Just only one thing is required from the discussions. Just I'd like to quote from the discussions of Professor Upadhyaya and Mr. Suryakant Sharma, that our thinking, our interest, and our understanding. If we are able to understand the market, when we are able to understand the instrument, even from the Professor Banerjee, if we are able to understand our instrument, and if we invest our valuable resources, so we can manage everything very peacefully. So now it is my pleasure and privilege to offer the vote of thanks to all. First, at the very outset, I would like to offer my sincere thanks and gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Chief Patron of this webinar, as well as the inaugurator of this webinar. Sir has rightly pointed out how do we increase our wealth and what are the importance of the wealth from the since independence. So wealth creation is only instrument that can help us to live very peacefully and to maintain the sustainability of our country as a whole. Now let me to offer the vote of offer the thanks to our chief guest of this webinar and the Dean Faculty of Arts and Commerce, Professor Tapun Kumar Dey. I would like to offer my sincere gratitude and thanks to the chief guest and Dean Faculty of Arts and Commerce, Professor Tapun Kumar Dey, from my core of heart. And his presence make this session very vibrant. Now it is time to offer the thanks to Dean of Science of our varsity, Professor Satyajit Saha, who was the guest of honor of this webinar. Sir has rightly pointed out that investment is needed for our life. Now I would like to offer the thanks to our registrar sir, Dr. Jayanto Kishore Nondi, and he is the special guest of this webinar. Due to his busy schedule, he was unable to join in this webinar, but he convey his best wishes for this webinar. Sir, I convey my sincere thanks to you for your gracious wishes. Now, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Professor Amfi Banerjee, Chairman and Director, EIILM, and chairperson in this webinar. Sir has rightly managed the time and give the enough time to the speakers to discuss or to highlight the main issues on the wealth creations as well as managing the personal finance, which is very important in our life. Apart from that, Sir has also pointed out a true fact And Professor Banerjee quoted a very nice quotation from the Curriculum laws, which gives insights about the managing personal finance and the wealth creation. Thank you, Chair, for your nice word. Now it is time to offer to my thanks to the eminent speakers, Professor Anand Suryanarayan Upadhyaya. Sir, thank you so much for your gracious presence and nice deliberation. I don't know how can I explain my thanks for you, thanks to you. Sir, you have presented your presentation in a very lucid way, and your presentations helps the young generations to decide their financial portfolio, how they will make their financial portfolio to grow up their wealth for the future. Now I'd like to convey my sincere thanks to another eminent speaker, Mr. Suryakant Sharma. He is not academician, he told at the very beginning of his lecture, but I think he is not lesser than an academician. Sir, you have presented your presentation a very lucid manner, and I think you have observed the message in the chat box. It is uncountable. Frankly speaking, before reading or before finishing a message, another message just arises on the screen. So, sir, you have presented very, very lucid way, and you have explained how the people, mainly the young generation, they invest their valuable resources into their various investment plan. You not only focus the mutual fund. I am very happy to say that, sir. You are not only focus the mutual fund, you are focusing the entire investment portfolio. You are focusing on government scheme, you are focusing on postal saving scheme, and then you are focusing on the mutual fund. If you talking about more and more about the mutual fund, I think audience feel bored, because they thought that you are just promoting the mutual funds as in this webinar. But sir, I convey my sincere thanks for covering the entire portfolio, entire financial portfolio for investment, and you are just sharing your own views. You have given lot of examples. You have taken the name of lot of teachers for in your deliberation, and which makes this deliberation is very vibrant. I think there is no words from my dictionary to express my gratitude and thanks for your nice deliberation. Thank you so much, sir. If I will not offer the thanks to those people who are behind the screen, the session will be incomplete. So now let me convey my sincere thanks to the people who are behind the screen, who that means who are working day and night to make the success of this webinar. Just I would like to mention the name of Sabjahar Ahmed. Sir, can you show your face? He is from Amfi. He's taking all kinds of technical responsibilities, and he solves all these problems which are arises during this webinar. He took all kinds of pain for organizing such webinar. Sir, I convey my sincere thanks from me and from the Department of Business Administration to you. Sir, please accept our thanks. I would also like to convey my sincere thanks to our head, Dr. Taroknath Sahu, for arranging or for organizing such a nice webinar. The topic is very mind-blowing and very relevant in this current situation. Students, mainly the young generation, couldn't find the ways where they will invest their valuable resources. This session helps them to select the right path for the right investment. Sir, I convey my sincere thanks to you for organizing this webinar. I also like to convey my sincere thanks to my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Vishwas, Dr. Banerjee, for their cooperation and support from the very beginning of these planning. I would also like to convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Subhashish Khan, who is also behind the screen, and without his help, it is hardly possible to organize such kinds of webinar and the event also. So I convey my sincere thanks to Subhashish Khan for his all kinds of support, physical as well as the mental support. Last but not the least, I'd like to convey my best regards and thanks to all the dignitaries, to all the participants, ladies and gentlemen, who share 2.5 hours, 2 and 30 minutes with us. And last but not the least, I would like to convey my sincere thanks all the officials and the administrative officers for their encouragement, for their support. And finally, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the faculty members of our other departments, especially Department of Commerce, Department of Economics, for their encouragement and support. With this, I am convey my sincere thanks to you all for this grand success of this webinar. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot
Sir,
to him for your
sir, on my
participation also.
So,
Yes.
sir, on my behalf and on behalf of Amfi,
Yes,
I
sir.
am thankful to all of you. Honestly speaking, we feel honored that personality like the Banerjee sir and Anand sir join in our programs. We get encouragement, and we feel, Banerjee sir, that these programs are the need of the hour.
Yes.
I have organized more than 300 webinars since pandemic happens, because physically we can't do programs. But I will be very happy, Tarak sir and Sudhin sir, when the things normalize, I will be happy to come to your university as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We will continue to have a relationship, and for such programs, I will be more than happy to join whenever you say me.
Yes, sir. We are already planning to conduct a FDP. Okay, 5 to 7 days FDP with you.
No, whenever you feel, sir, I am at your disposal. I am at the disposal of Banerjee sir.
Yes.
Whenever you tell me, I am at your disposal.
Yes, sir. Professor Anand is also there. Professor Anand actually visited our university
Before pandemic.
2 times.
Okay.
Yes, before pandemic. 2 times. So he is our very good friend, and all time we get support from him also.
Yeah.
So,
And of course, a special thank goes to Mr. Sabjar Ahmed for taking care of all logistics and all these things.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sabjar. Thank you, Mr. Sabjar.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Banerjee sir, I am especially honored that you are with me for such a long time. And of course,
it's such a great pleasure, and it was a wonderful session, and the talks and what do I say? As Professor Sudhinbag was mentioning, his dictionary did not find the adequate words. Same thing with all, so it was a really beautiful, wonderful session. We'll get back to you, both of you all, again and again. Thank you very much. We announced that this session is over.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Dr.
Have a
Anand.
great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.